Hey, welcome back everybody to the Unfair Advantage. Today is pretty exciting because today I'm going to reveal to you the holy grail of marketing, and especially for 2020. I get asked everywhere that I go, if I started from scratch, if I'm starting a new business, where would I go? Where can I start? There's Facebook, there's Instagram, Snapchat, YouTube. There's a lot of different social media networks out there. But really, what is the holy grail? Where do I get the best bang for my buck? Where can I get in there and maybe build something from scratch for spending little to no money? Well, I'm about to reveal that holy grail to you, and it's going to come up right now. Alrighty, welcome back everybody. Like I mentioned in the intro, what is the holy grail of marketing? Everywhere that I go, people ask me, if I personally had to start from scratch, or if I had a new business, where would I go? How would I start to promote my business? And how can I do it in a way where it's cost effective, where I don't have to spend a lot of money, and I can scale my business up slowly. A lot of you guys that are starting off and working from home or starting a new business, as an entrepreneur, it doesn't always, take off right away. Okay, not every business is like that. You can spend a lot of money in advertising. You can do all the other technical stuff and get your websites done. But business is kind of tricky. It doesn't always work that way. So what I teach in my strategies is that scale it slowly. Make sure that the proof of concept is there, that people want your product or your service, and then little by little start doubling down and start building up that brand. And there's different ways to do it. I'm just sharing with you the way that I've done it. I mean, I've helped companies generate millions and hundreds of millions of dollars, and I'm going to show you the way that I would do it, okay? And what I'm going to do is I'm going to go up to the chalkboard and share some information with you. And I think you're going to get blown away on how simple this is, and you really don't have to break the bank. You don't have to go out there and spend tens of thousands of dollars per month to promote and to grow your business. There's an easier way to do it, but you just have to be patient. So let's go to the chalkboard. Alrighty, great. So check this out. One of the easiest ways for you to build a brand is to basically put yourself in front of a massive amount of people. On the real estate exam, for example, for those that take the broker's exam or just the regular sales license exam, one of the questions that they ask is it has to do with about opening up an office. What's the best place, or where's the best place to open up a real estate office? And they always talk about one thing, and I'm going to share that with you here, okay? And that's location, location, location. You always want to be where the customers are at, okay? And what happens a lot of times when we're doing social media or we're doing Facebook advertising or any type of advertising online, the problem is that most people, they think they have an idea where their customers are at, and they run ads and they do all this not geo-tracking, but what they do is they go into Facebook and they'll try to build an audience. Facebook has these tools where you can find people in a certain region, okay? But the problem with that is that what you're doing is you're also swimming where there's a lot of other people competing for that same space. So what I like to do is I take a little bit of a different approach. I like to go into an area where there isn't a lot of competition, but I know that there's a massive audience. And I know most of you guys that are watching this video, you're obviously watching on YouTube, or I did the video on YouTube and someone shared it or posted over onto Facebook or another social media. And you're probably wondering, well, why did I record it on YouTube? Why didn't I just record a video and upload it to Facebook? Well, and it's for several reasons. And let me share this with you because this is very, very important here. A lot of people are not aware of this information, especially if you're a new business, if you're a new entrepreneur, you're trying to grow, a brand. Maybe you're selling insurance, maybe you're starting off in real estate, maybe you're doing direct sales, network marketing. It really doesn't matter, okay? But here's the thing. Let me talk a little bit about YouTube, because the holy grail here that I'm talking about is YouTube. I've started marketing on YouTube. I started marketing actually with videos way back, even before the internet. As a matter of fact, one of my first jobs or gigs that I had when I was starting as an entrepreneur is I was videotaping. I'd videotape businesses, I'd videotape sporting events, music concerts, And from there, I started to get a reputation for doing really good videos, and people would hire me. Okay, so I would go where there was always an audience. If you over here, especially in California in the summers, there's always soccer leagues. So I would go film, kids, at the soccer tournaments. There's a massive amount of people there, and then people would ask me, for my card. They wanted copies of the video, they wanted to buy it. So I put myself in front of that audience. Remember, it was about location, location, location. And so with YouTube, what's really interesting is that I started telling people about video marketing a long time ago. I mean, I'm talking 25 plus years ago, almost 30 years ago. And people always struggled because it was very difficult to videotape and then put it out there, to people. When I first started doing videos, I mean, there was no internet. So, I mean, what did you do with it? So you had to go to trade shows, or, you had to go to events to sell your service. Well, when the internet started, digital video really didn't start to kick in probably till 1998, right around 2000. It started to kind of pick up a little bit. And that's when I told people, look, get in front of that wave, get in there early, because eventually there's going to be channels, or there's going to be systems out there that have or promote video. You're going to be able to put your video on these networks, and then maybe it's paid, maybe it's free. And that prediction actually came true. So, but the problem is that even today, the technology has advanced so much that people don't know how to get their videos posted in the right place, and they don't know how to title them. There's a lot of little quirks here and there, but I'm telling you guys, the holy grail of marketing is in YouTube. Okay, and then going into 2020, I mean, in the years to come, I'm telling you right now, I'm making this prediction. If you're not marketing on YouTube, you might as well be out of business. Okay, and I'm going to explain why. So these are some of the stats, right? Back in about, I believe it was like February of 2005. And I'll put these on a slide if you can't see it on the chalkboard. That's really when YouTube launched. Okay, that's when they registered the domain. They started, people started uploading videos, and it was basically, I mean, really junky stuff. But over time, they built it up so much so that Google, when Google launched, eventually they bought YouTube, because Google is the number 1 search engine in the world right now. YouTube is the number 2 search engine in the world. And it's very important, because when you look at videos that are on Facebook, the majority of the videos that are on Facebook are not uploaded directly into Facebook. They're being shared from YouTube. The analytics show that. I think something like 70, almost 75% of all the videos on YouTube are actually being shared on Facebook. So the traffic's coming from Facebook, but they're uploading them to YouTube, and there's a reason for that. But let me continue on with this. In about August, I believe it was August of 2007, that's when YouTube started accepting ads. That's when they launched their very first ads on YouTube. And that started the phenomenon. It just started growing and growing and growing. And as we move into the future here, and we go just a couple more years, and I think it was March. I'm just looking at my notes here to make sure I get the dates correct for you guys. And you guys can Google all this. March of 2013, they were up to 1 billion monthly active users. Okay, these are the people that are already registered on YouTube. They're registered as, content providers. They're registered as people that are subscribing to channels and things like that. I mean, that's a staggering number. And as we move forward, if you look into May of this year, of 2019, we're almost at the end of 2019, there's over 2 billion active users. 2 billion. That's a huge, huge number. So yes, okay, Facebook may have, 2 billion users or 2.5 billion users on their platform, but there's a big difference. And I'm going to show you guys here why this is the holy grail. Well, you guys, if you're running a business right now, if you're starting a new business, listen up, because this is one of those key things that, I talk about in my workshops and my boot camps. And this is what helps people propel their businesses. And it sets you up into the future to kind of recession-proof your business. So again, if you're trying to generate leads, if you're trying to build brand awareness, if you're, whatever you're trying to do to build your business, you got to be on YouTube. Okay. So what happens right now? Okay. So those are those stats. Let me share with you a couple other stats here that are pretty important. YouTube is, it's just amazing. I think as of this last year, or finishing off this year, there's something like 400, get this guys, 400 hours every minute being uploaded into YouTube. 400 hours a minute. That is a staggering number, because check this out. There's over 250 million watch hours every single day. Okay. And that's on TV screens. There's 250 million watch hours on TV screens. That means that a lot of that content that's being uploaded to video, people are actually watching it on their TVs. Okay. That's just on TVs. When you take into account everything else, the mobile users that are watching on their mobile devices, on their computers, it's over 1 billion. Okay, and that's every single day. So if you take, basically, if you do the math, I believe it comes out to I think if you get all the cable channels on the planet, you take all their content and you put it all together, more people are on YouTube watching YouTube videos all across the planet. As a matter of fact, with YouTube today, it's available in, I think, something like 80 different languages. It's available in over 100 different countries. I mean, you can reach an audience. So if you have a product where there's no borders, there's no boundaries, let's say you're selling a digital product, a course or something like that, man, YouTube's a place, because you can reach basically an international audience, really, really fast. And if you're putting out content, and let's say you want to reach an audience in a different language, I can show you guys, and again, I'm going to be covering that in one of the other videos. I can show you guys where to go find people that can translate these videos for you. You can put them up, and then you can start building brand awareness. Okay, so let me talk about a couple other facts here, because this is really, really important here. That, I already talked about how many people are using it all over the planet, which is pretty amazing. But the other thing too is that, just on mobile alone, okay, keep in mind, this is just on mobile alone. According to YouTube, they're saying that 8 out of 10, okay, that's like 80% of people between the age of 18 and 49 are watching YouTube pretty much more than cable. They're not watching cable anymore. Okay, so they're watching YouTube, on a daily basis, or sometimes they're watching it on an hourly basis. It is a huge market. Another stat that they came out with was that, YouTubers that are putting out content, okay, they're putting out content basically to monetize their channels. And I want to talk a little bit about that, because this class today isn't really so much about monetizing, but I'm going to show you guys how you can basically turn a YouTube channel into your marketing budget generator. Okay, so one of the things that you can do is that, and I'll show you guys in a little bit on the stats, is that you can basically scale your channel. You can start putting up content on the channel, and little by little over time, it becomes monetized. Okay, and there's a couple of steps you got to go through. There's some procedures, and I'll go back to the computer right now and I'll show you how that works. Once you monetize your channel, what's really cool is that Facebook is going to pay you around, on the average of 65% of the ad revenue of the ads that are shown on your channel. Okay, so one of the things that I like to teach people to do is to start getting comfortable with the camera, start uploading videos. Don't worry if they look bad. Don't worry if the video quality is not there, the audio quality is not there. Little by little, you will fix that. And I'm going to show you guys how to do that. You can do it on a budget where you don't have to spend a ton of money. But what happens is that over time, if you monetize your channel, and again, you have to activate this. Believe it or not, it's not automatic. Okay, you have to activate this. But once you monetize your channel, what's going to happen is, as you start to show ads, or the ads are displayed on your videos, what's going to happen is that YouTube is going to split the revenue. Okay, so if you're providing valuable content, let's say I'll just use a chiropractor, for example. A chiropractor can be giving tips on different exercises they can do to help keep their backs aligned. And as you start building this value online on YouTube, and people start sharing those videos, and then you start sharing your videos, I'll show you guys a little bit about that on the slides here, is that over time, if you have 10, 15, 20, and then later on you're gonna have about 100, And then you're going to get to maybe 1,000 videos, and you might think, well, shoot, man, Richard, that's a lot of videos. I don't know if I can commit to that. I'm telling you guys, you need to commit to this because it's not a lot of work, and you're already giving away this valuable information to people. I see it. We put on expos. We put on some of the largest expos in our area where there's 4,000 people that come to these events, and the vendors there, they're giving away all this information. They're educating people on their products and their services, but they're not getting monetized for that. They're not getting paid. What I'm going to show you guys here how to do is that you start to monetize your channel. So when you get to the point where they start paying you for that revenue split, you take that money, you're going to take that money, and that's going to become part of your marketing budget. Okay. So you're basically going to be getting paid to share your information. And then you take that money, and then the way we train people is that start putting it into ads, start, getting your word out even more, and your revenue starts to increase, and you get like this, what I call the network effect. And that network effect is that, and I'll show you guys here in a second, is that you get to a point where you start to create this momentum, and then everything just starts to take off. You start getting more subscribers, you start getting more engagement, and that's really what YouTube wants. YouTube wants you to have valuable content that where you can create engagement. And then what'll happen is little by little, you'll go from maybe a few dollars a day to, there's people that I'm going to show you here in a second that are making these astronomical numbers, and they're not any smarter than you and I. The only difference is that they're putting out that content. So one of the things that people struggle with is that, well, what do I talk about? Well, I can show you, and I'll show you in one of our other videos, where you can find topics to talk about, where you can find, certain topics that are trending in your niche. So you don't have to spend a ton of hours, banging your head against the wall, trying to figure out, what to talk about, because I'm telling you, the content is there. I'll show you where to search for it. In the long run, what I'm hoping that you guys do and you follow along with this is that you're going to be able to basically build a brand over time that, especially, this works really good if you're a new business or you're starting new in business, because you're going to struggle along the way. You're not going to know what to say all the time, and that's okay. When you're uploading videos onto YouTube, what happens is that people connect with people just like you and I. I'm not like, for example, like myself, I'm not really editing this video very much. I don't care if there's a lot of ums and, or I look at the computer, whatever, that's not important. The more realistic your videos are, the more raw, that's where you connect with people. The ones where you try to script them out too much, and you overthink the process, that's where you start to lose people, because they think you're just there trying to sell them something. And with video, and also even with Facebook, some of the classes that we teach, when you're putting out content, you want to put out content that's valuable. You want to put out content that you would want to know yourself. Okay, so when I talk about this holy grail of marketing, especially when it comes down to YouTube, is that YouTube has something that's very, very unique. With YouTube, you put up a video, unless they take it down because you violated something, that video stays there forever. Okay, when you post something on Facebook, it's very hard to go back and search, for something that you've posted, because it's just a big long line. Yes, they do have a little search bar there, but they're really not a search engine. Okay, it's a social network, and there's some differences there. YouTube's different. YouTube is owned by Google, so they use a lot of the same technology to help you find content. Okay, so, and what happens is that when I talk about this network effect, when people start to add videos, and they add more videos and more videos over time, this is what happens. Someone may come in 6 months from now, a year from now, 2 years from now. And again, this works really well if you're someone that's dedicated to your business, you're in it for the long haul, you're not in it just to make a quick buck, okay? Because this is what happens with the network effect. You get to the point where you might put up a video that kind of strikes a chord with the YouTube audience, or even with Google, and it becomes somewhat viral. And I'm not talking about where it generates millions of views. I'm talking where it makes that jump. And there's a point where when it makes that jump, it does, and what happens is what I call the network effect. What will happen is that people that are watching that video then go back and say, well, that's kind of interesting. What else does he have? So then what will happen is that they're watching, you got this little video that might have gone that got that bump, that went a little bit viral. And now people are coming back and watching 2, 3, 4, sometimes even more videos. And that's one of the reasons we ask, and I'll ask right now, if you like the content that I'm providing, please, subscribe, click the like button and, smash that little button, that little bell, because it'll give you some alerts, when I'm putting out new content. And, we encourage you guys to do that, to do the same thing. Ask, if you're providing content that's valuable, people are going to click on it. So what'll happen is that if they like what they see, if you're bringing valuable content, they may go back and watch maybe 2 or 3 videos, but because they subscribed, it's going to come up on their front page, when they first log in to YouTube, or when they first go to YouTube. YouTube is going to recognize that they came back, and maybe you just put out a new video. So what happens is that video gets put up there, and it says, hey, Richard just came out with a new video, and they got all the latest videos there, and you most likely will get more traffic. Guys, this is a gold mine for marketing. If you've ever ran a business, if you've ever ran a traditional business, you know how hard it is to get customers to come into the door, right? And most of us can't afford, if you have a retail business, to be inside, the busy malls, because it's very, very expensive. So a lot of businesses, what do? They get a small shop, or they get a small location that maybe where there's not a lot of foot traffic, hoping that they can build their brand. The problem is that according to the Small Business Administration, the number one reason why most of us, or most small businesses, fail is lack of funding. Because we spend so much time trying to build all the technology. Oh, we got to get the website perfect. This has to be perfect over here. And, and what happens is you get so stuck in that loop that you don't budget enough money for marketing. And marketing, depending how you do it, can get expensive. On YouTube, it's very inexpensive. And what's really cool about YouTube is we show people how to go find the influencers, find the people that are already generating thousands and thousands of views on their channels. And believe it or not, with YouTube, they allow us to advertise and, compete basically for our ads to come out on their channels. So you don't need paid spokespeople. You don't need to go to an influencer and say, hey, can you promote my product? All you got to do is advertise, and you're going to show up on their page. So you can essentially show up on your competitors' videos, and they don't care if they're monetizing their channels. They don't care, because obviously if I'm paying to be on there, they get part of that revenue. So they can't really control that. Facebook has a lot of restrictions, especially if you're in certain industries. Like right now, if you're into cryptocurrencies, they used to allow ads for cryptocurrencies. So there was companies like eToro and Cricket Trade and all these other companies that are advertising, and then all of a sudden they shut them down. They said, no, we don't want to support cryptocurrencies because they're scams. And then a year later, Mark Zuckerberg announces that, oh, we're releasing our own cryptocurrency. I mean, hello? I mean, that's kind of a low blow, okay, because of the way they did it. And they got called on that, and now they opened it back up. So now they do allow for cryptocurrency. But there's other industries, kind of the same thing. But the difference here, again, when you advertise on Facebook, it's unless you're going to do what they call retargeting, and you can't retarget until you actually run a lot of ads so you can build up an audience. Your ad budget is going to go through the roof if you're not careful. And again, there's a lot of companies out there that promise that they can run ads for you and they're going to generate this and that. And at the end of the day, guys, stick with the channel, learn with us. You're going to be able to do a lot of the stuff yourself. You don't have to go out there and pay companies to do that, because at the end of the day, you need to be in control. Okay, you need to be in control of your own business. And I'm telling you guys, do not ever give up. There's so many people. I mean, I train people all over the world, and I see it all the time, man. I see people that come in and they're fired up, man. They want to go out there and make money, and then they quit after a couple of months because they can't figure something out, or if they're in a company where they're sponsored into a company like a network marketing company, their sponsor goes missing in action and they're out, chasing some other shiny object. And I'm telling you guys here, stick to what you have, focus, give it enough time for it to mature. Sometimes you can knock it out of the park, make some quick money, but most of the time, it takes time to build. And I'm going to show you guys right now on the slide how that works. But again, going back to what we're doing here with YouTube, with YouTube is so inexpensive to advertise. I mean, you can advertise for pennies. And this is if you're doing paid advertising. I cover that in a different video. But for what I'm showing you guys here is that, I want you guys to start building an audience on Facebook, excuse me, on YouTube, I want you to start building, videos and uploading them. Don't worry if they look all that great. I'm going to be showing you guys how to edit videos with simple applications. I'm going to show you guys, if you don't want to do it all yourself, where you can outsource it for just a few dollars. There's people that will edit your videos. They'll put graphics and music and stuff like that. But what I'm going to do right now is I'm going to go back over to the computer. I want to show you guys, give you guys a little bit more information. I think you guys are going to get blown away. All right, so let me show you guys something on the computer here. I think it's something that's going to help you guys get motivated, so you guys can get involved with digital marketing. So again, and I really emphasize this, especially if you're a small business or you're someone that's just starting out in some type of business opportunity. I mean, it can be really anything. Really look at what I'm talking about here, because I think this is something that can give you a lot of leverage. It's going to give you that unfair advantage. The reason I call the channel The Unfair Advantage is because I want to give you guys those tips, those marketing hacks that I refer to, because man, if there's nothing like living like a digital lifestyle. If you can get your business or your business opportunity to the point where you're making a sustainable income, from home, I mean, that is really awesome, because when you get to that point where you're able to make that car payment, when you're able to make that house payment with some of the efforts that you're putting forward, with your business opportunity, I mean, it's a life changer. I mean, you start to think of things a lot different. You start to wonder, man, is there a limit? Can I take this farther? And I'm telling you guys, like I said before, there really is no limit. You can make as much money as you want, but you need to be mentored. You need to listen to people that have been there before. So, this year I'm going to spend a lot of time, focusing on YouTube, helping people launch their channels and build their brands, because, man, I'm telling you guys, it's there's something that's happening right now. There's this convergence, and you're going to be blown away. So let me show you what I'm talking about here. So a lot of times we talk about what's referred to as leveraged income. Okay, leveraged income, basically what it means is, like, right now you're one of two people. You're either leveraging or you're being leveraged. Okay, and if you're being leveraged, that usually means a job. That usually results in actually more bills, right? And when you're being leveraged, what happens is that you're building someone else's dream. If you're working for a small company, that person had a dream, right? They wanted to start a business and go out there, and you're basically helping them fulfill their dream. So I encourage people to really dip their toe and really sink their teeth into, becoming a digital marketer, because, I mean, there's so many advantages. I mean, you can work from anywhere in the world. Even if you have a traditional business, maybe you're doing insurance, and you think, well, I got to meet with people one-on-one, and I'm telling you, you can do it all through the internet. We built a business one time where, in a very short period of time, we originated mortgages or loans in excess of $1 billion, and this was with people that had little to no experience doing loans. And we did that all through the internet. We didn't have to sit down. We didn't need an office. Even though we had an office, we didn't need it. So again, leverage income, if you're being leveraged, again, that's usually a job. But here's the thing. If you're leveraging, if you're creating, if you're the one that's leveraging a company or some type of business opportunity, then what you're doing at that point is that you're actually creating income. Okay, you're creating this residual income where once where you build it once, it just kind of keeps coming in month and month, after that, and year after year. And again, I'm not talking about network marketing, guys. I'm just talking about any type of business. You can be an affiliate marketer where what you're doing is you're driving sales to an offer where maybe it's someone that's selling these lights, and they pay an affiliate commission. I show you guys how to do that primarily through YouTube. I mean, that's really the holy grail. There's so much money to be made there. So understand what leverage income is, because this is the one thing that's really kind of it's going to get your brain thinking. You're going to start thinking that, well, can I do this? Is this possible? And again, I'm telling you guys, anybody can do this. It's really not that hard. And YouTube to me is leverage marketing, because you're able to leverage an entire audience. When I do workshops, is that you want to leverage a lot of people, and it doesn't mean getting people involved in some kind of Ponzi scheme. That's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking legitimate businesses that have legitimate products and services that pay commissions in a multi-tier type system. And when you leverage a team, I mean, you start to build a sales organization, you start to get recurring income that starts to come in. You start making money while you sleep. Well, think of YouTube the same way. There's millions and billions of people that are watching videos on YouTube that you can leverage. Okay, and I'm going to talk about that here in a sec. So for those of you guys that have been in my workshop, you guys probably seen this slide. I use it quite a bit. It's very important, guys, because timing, positioning, and again, location is everything. And when I talk about that there's a sleeping giant awaits you, I'm referring to you also being that sleeping giant if you do this right. Okay, and all businesses, it doesn't really matter what type of business you have. If you have, if you're doing Avon, you're doing network marketing, or you're selling insurance, or you're building a retail business, everybody, all those businesses are going to go through this process, and that I refer to as the 3 stages of growth. The first part is going to be what I refer to as the introductory phase. In the introductory phase, this is when you're out there networking, you're talking to people about your product. Again, it doesn't matter what the product is. It can be a service. I know I have a lot of friends that are in the insurance business that are doing really, really well, but they go out there, when they first started their businesses, they had to go out there and they had to network. They had to go to events. They went to the expos, like the expos that I put together over here in our neck of the woods. And during that introductory phase is when you're getting to know people, okay? You haven't hit that point where your business is really going to take off. And what happens a lot of times is people throw in the towel. They give up because they feel like they're not getting enough momentum. Okay, well, it takes time to get to the momentum. And there is no set marker that I can tell you guys that, look, if you put an X amount of hours, it's going to get to here. Because at the end of the day, everything that we're doing revolves around sales. Doesn't matter what we're doing. Everything, product, services, requires a sale to keep our business. But let me move forward here so you can kind of see what I'm talking about. So what's going to happen is that everybody's going to go through these 3 different phases. You're going to go through an introductory phase where you're talking to people. Then eventually, hopefully, if you do the right things, you get into the momentum phase, and then after that, you hit a stability phase. But this is what's real important here is that point where you go from introductory phase to momentum phase, we call critical mass. This is when all of a sudden what I call the network effect kicks in, and all of a sudden it takes off. And people are all excited because they know all the money starts to come in. But the problem is, it's hard to identify when that is. A lot of times you get a little bump and you think, okay, I can kick back now. I don't have to do anything. And because I'm in momentum, and it's really not. Momentum to me is that when you start hitting those numbers that you once dreamed of. Okay, so if you're someone that's making $20,000, $30,000, $40,000 a year, all of a sudden, you start hitting these numbers where it looks like you're going to be hitting $150,000 a year, $200,000 a year. To me, that's momentum. A lot of people have smaller, goals, smaller numbers that they want to hit, but to me, I need something that's really going to, set me back and think, wow, this is it. Can I double that? Can I go from 100,000 to 200,000? And again, we really don't know when that happens, but we do have, when we take you guys through the workshop, we have you guys go through a couple of workbooks, and we have you kind of like log your sales and all that, and we talk a little bit more about that. But let me move on here so you can see a little bit about what I'm talking about. When I'm talking about leveraging the market, okay, the reason, again, YouTube is the holy grail of marketing is that most people, if you put videos on YouTube and that's all you're doing, that's fine. Okay. Some people are just going to focus on Facebook. They're going to try to build a social network. But then again, remember what I said, the difference between YouTube and Facebook. With YouTube, you upload a video, you start uploading a lot of videos, they're there forever. Okay. Until you take them down. If you go on Twitter, Snapchat, again, it's very hard to find videos. That's why I tell people focus on YouTube. But if you merge the two, okay, and the reason 2020 is very critical here for you guys is that you can do things today that we couldn't have done 5 years ago. And most of you that are watching this video, there's a pretty good chance a lot of you are watching it on my feed on Facebook. I do that for a reason, okay, because Facebook has already been around for a while. Most of you that have been on Facebook already for a while are starting to realize, wow, if I just keep adding friends or I keep networking with people, I can build a little bit of an audience, and people might buy my product, or they might ask me about my product. But if you merge the two, that's when you can do 10x, you can do 100x from what you're doing today, because you can leverage both networks. And again, the majority of the videos from YouTube, I mean, there's 75% of their traffic, if not more by now, is being shown on Facebook, not the other way around. Okay, so what you want to do is that you want to focus on YouTube, because little by little over time, I'm going to show you here in a second, you can scale your business where you can have YouTube basically be paying your marketing budget on Facebook or on YouTube, or you just pocket the money. And it's very easy to do, but it takes time. You can't do that with Facebook. Facebook does not allow you to monetize your videos. You see all those ads on your feed? You know, when you're on Facebook, there's like an ad every 4 or 5 inches. Are they paying you for that? Hell no. But you know what? YouTube is. So that's why I tell people, start on YouTube, upload your videos. And again, I'll go into some more detail on some of the other videos coming up. I'll show you guys how to do some basic editing, how to add some graphics, how to make them look good, how to add some custom lighting, how to use the right type of microphones. I mean, I use different microphones depending on what I'm shooting here. And again, that's where you want to start. So once again, you want to merge the two. YouTube pays you. They share the revenue with you. Facebook does not. Okay. So once again, stick to YouTube. Let's talk about monetization. Okay. What does it take to monetize your channel? Well, you can't monetize your channel from day one. Okay. You can't start putting up videos and immediately start earning revenue. YouTube has certain requirements, and I walk you through that in one of the other videos, but it's something you have to build up over time. It's not going to happen, but there's a reason for that, because they want to make sure that you're starting to put out quality videos, that you have people that are following you, that are subscribing. Again, subscribe if you haven't subscribed already yet. Put a comment in the comments below, give me some feedback, and if you want to know something else, put it in there too, because I'll go back and I'll try to do a future video on some of your recommendations. But the way it works is with YouTube is that you have to get a certain amount of subscribers within a 12-month period, and then you have to have a certain amount of what they call watch hours. And that's one of the reasons you want to continuously be updating your videos, uploading more videos, talking about new things in your business. And again, it doesn't matter. I mean, you can be crocheting, and I can show you guys where to find content for that if you run out of content. There's literally millions and millions of topics that you can talk about on YouTube. I mean, it's endless. I mean, again, YouTube is like a TV, network, and then you're one of the channels. You own a channel on that network, and eventually people will connect with you. You may think that they won't, but they do. I mean, I've done this several times, and I only wish that I didn't start. I should have started monetizing my videos and my channels years ago. But we were so busy, and even though I was still doing marketing, I never really monetized it. I didn't think YouTube. I knew YouTube was going to grow, but I wasn't sure how they were going to monetize and help people monetize their channel. But that's not important, because if you're in it for the long run, you're in good hands. So anyway, so you're not going to be able to monetize your video from day one, but you'll be able to start the process. And then once you hit that threshold, then they notify you that, hey, you can now monetize your channels, and then you can go back into all your videos, and you can click at what spot in the video you want a commercial to come up. And it really is that simple. And then you just start collecting revenue, and little by little you'll start to make more and more money. Okay, so this is something that I talk about when I'm talking about monetization. When you go through these 3 phases of growth, what's going to happen is that during that introductory phase, okay, during that phase where you're getting comfortable with your channel, you're uploading information, you're not going to make any money. Like I mentioned, it takes a while to get monetized. But you still need to put out content. Okay, if you have a business that you really, really care about, that you feel that everybody should be using your service or your product, you should be talking about it. You should be talking about it and do it on YouTube. So during that introductory phase, again, until you get monetized, you're going to make little to really no money at all. But this is what's going to happen. When you start to hit that momentum phase, once you start to that they approve your channel for monetization, you hit that critical mass, you're going to start to earn. Okay, and you're going to start to earn a few dollars a day. It's going to go $10 a day, $15 a day, and it's going to grow and grow, and you're going to get up to $500 a day. You're going to be like, holy cow. And then you're going to hit that stability phase where people know about your channel. Okay, and then YouTube is out there promoting your channel. And then as you grow in subscribers every single month, you'll hit a number where you start to hit, 100,000, 500,000 subscribers. And then what'll happen is that you're bringing in 30, 40,000 subscribers a month because, your channel, the network effect is kicked in. And you're probably thinking, all right, how in the heck am I going to reach 500,000 subscribers? And again, follow along with the channel. You're going to be able to actually look back in the future, a year from now, you're going to look at this channel. And if you follow along with us, you should be able to hit very similar numbers. Maybe not as high as we do or that I do, because I'm putting a lot of effort into this. And maybe in the beginning, you didn't put a lot of effort into it, but you're going to see these numbers grow. But eventually you're going to hit, when you hit that stability phase, you're going to be hitting some, 6-figure, 5 and 6 figure numbers, pretty quick. And then you're going to be doing about 15, maybe $20,000, $30,000 a month. I've seen this time and time again. I've followed a lot of people from, when they first started, with their channels, and, their channels weren't all that great. They had some crappy video. The sound sucked. It didn't look very good. The lighting was horrible. And eventually as they started to fine tune and getting their voice, the videos started getting better and better. And again, those videos that look raw, that look like this, where we're just talking back and forth, they tend to really get the most amount of traffic. And if you're bringing a massive amount of value, people will stick with you. And keep in mind, there's people out there that want you to succeed. Okay, it's a lot different than, one of the problems that people have with network marketing is that they burn out their friends and family, right? So then, they're trying to get their friends and family in the business, and nobody wants to do business with them because they've seen them follow the shiny object syndrome and they don't want to be burned. Or you got Uncle, Joe on the couch who's never done anything, and he's trying to give you financial advice. And, that's one of the reasons they struggle, is that they don't stay focused for the long haul. With YouTube, you really got to stay focused for the long haul. Keep building your brand, keep building your message, around, whatever the topic is, and you will hit those numbers. Again, there's no guarantee in writing or anything like that, but if you put in the effort, it will pay off. I've seen this time and time again, and you're going to be able to come back at this channel and see that, wow, he was talking about this on such and such date, and 6 months later or 9 months later or whatever, you'll be able to see the growth. I'm going to come back. I'm going to show you the graphs on how it grew from just a few subscribers, a few hours of watch time, and it just kept growing and growing and growing. So you will hit these numbers, and it's just a matter of time. You just have to stick with it. Okay, do not give up. Okay, in the beginning, yes, it's going to suck. The videos are going to suck. The audio, the lighting is going to suck. You're going to be like, man, I suck. Nobody wants to watch my videos. You're going to want to delete this stuff. But it's okay. That's the process. Okay. When you go to karate class, for those of you who've taken karate, you know what I'm talking about. You don't come in at karate, at a karate studio and plop down some cash, and all of a sudden in a couple of months you're a black belt. I'm sure there's martial arts studios that'll take your money and give you a fake black belt, but everybody goes through the process. You go through all these different ranks, and there's a reason for that. You get a little bruise here and there, and you start to get better and better. Again, you can't go from zero to Bruce Lee in a short period of time. As a matter of fact, that reminds me, there was someone in the area here where I live that, basically had gone to one of these schools where, he basically bought his black belt, and he thought he was a black belt. And there was a situation where there was a robbery at a donut shop. And, this guy thought he was Chuck Norris, and he comes over there and he throws a flying sidekick thinking that he's going to knock this guy down or the gun out of his hand. And all the guy had to do is step back 2 inches, and the guy went plop right on the ground, broke his hip. And it was in the newspaper. It was hilarious. And again, marketing's the same way. You can't do that. You can't take those shortcuts. And over time, you're going to get better and better, and then your business is going to start to grow. And then, and then you're going to come back and think, okay, wow, this is really, really cool. But again, don't spend a ton of money doing this, because you can do a lot of the stuff yourself. Don't pay anybody to do it. Do it yourself. So anyway, that's that. Now, this is something that's very interesting here. I want to give you guys an example here of how much money can be made on YouTube. And again, these people have been doing it, for a couple of years, but this example here that I have on the screen, and this is reported by Forbes. There's a 7-year-old kid. His name is Ryan. Him and his family, they have a website, or not a website, excuse me, a channel on YouTube called Ryan's Toy Review. 7 years old, 7. Okay. In 2018, made $22 million from that revenue share from YouTube. 7 years old. Now, if you go look at their videos now, they look pretty polished because guess what? They're making some pretty damn good money. They bought new cameras, right? They made it look good. That was in 2018. He did $22 million. They're projecting that this year alone, in 2019, he's going to make about $30 million from his channel. That is man, if that doesn't set you back, I mean, blow your mind. So basically, in the next over the next 5 years, if you had the last couple of years that he's been doing this, and over the next few years, he's going to hit about $100 million. And that's and that's all him. Okay, that's money that's coming into him. Okay, that's money that was paid to him. Okay, so what will even blow your mind even more is that he's not even the number one income earner on YouTube. He's like number 13. The top company on YouTube it's actually a company because they're putting out a lot of videos. I think they're doing something like that much like every month. So once again, I'm not trying to get you guys to become YouTube influencers. What I'm trying to get you guys to understand here is that if you follow this program here, okay, and you go back and you leverage and you monetize your marketing, you're going to be able to take the money that you're making here in the beginning, because it's not going to be a ton of money, and you're going to be able to apply it now and have a marketing budget with cash flow that's coming in. Again, the Small Business Administration, the one thing that they talked about a lot was that, the number one reason that businesses fail is because of lack of resources. You don't have enough money to do the other things that you need to do in your business. Someone opened up a Subway, and they spent $100,000 in franchise fees to open up that Subway. I can guarantee you they're going to have a budget for marketing. As a matter of fact, a lot of times the franchises will make it a requirement that you have to have a certain amount of money in order to be able to open up the business. They want to make sure that you're successful. They don't want a write-up in the paper that, someone opened up a Subway and, 6 months later they're out of business. So again, it all goes back to, what I talk about this holy grail of marketing. The holy grail of marketing to me is YouTube. There's different things you can do on YouTube that you can't do on other networks. I mean, it is a gold mine. I mean, if you just stick with it, if you just keep plugging away, you will earn income from YouTube. And at the same time, you're generating customers. You're creating an audience that's going to help your business grow. And really, that's what it's about, right? You want to scale your business. You want to make the type of income that's transformational. And the only way you can do that is, you got to take that leap of faith. You got to follow the people that have done this before. And I'm telling you guys, for 2020, YouTube is going to be the one thing that I think is going to separate a lot of businesses. There's going to be a lot of businesses that are going to, they're going to be behind the eight ball, and they're not going to put a lot of effort, into doing video marketing because, they're either afraid to go on video or they think it's too expensive or whatever. But I'm telling you guys, stick with it. Follow us on the channel. Subscribe. That's why I keep telling everybody, subscribe to the channel. Comment below so I can get feedback from you guys. And I want to make sure I'm bringing value to you guys. I'm not just doing these videos just to do them. I'm building courses right now, and I'm building actually a course on the process of what I'm doing here. So about a year from now, maybe mid 2021. I'm going to be releasing a series of courses, and I'm using the content that I'm building here on the channel. And this way, you guys will be able to come back and look and see, wow, this stuff actually really does work. But anyway, with that, I hope you guys have I hope I brought some value to you guys. If you think this is interesting, again, subscribe, comment below, share it on Facebook. Let people know that that you're going to be doing something like this, and I really appreciate that. I love your feedback. The only way that I can improve the stuff that we're doing, the stuff that I do when I travel and do the boot camps and speak on stage, if I don't get feedback from you guys, it's more valuable to me if I get feedback from you guys, because then I can address the issues and the concerns that you guys have on how to do marketing. And once again, stick with it. Don't give up. Don't let anybody, spoil your dream. Don't be, if you really want to go for it, start building your own dream. Don't let, don't be building someone else's dream that, at the end of the day, you're just going to be a disposable employee. You want to get to the point where you can generate your own income. You can live a digital entrepreneur lifestyle. You can work from anywhere in the world. A couple of months ago, I was in Spain, and I was out there at a conference, and I was working from my laptop, and And you know, that's awesome. You know, that's a really, really cool thing. But anyway, I don't want to just keep rambling on. I'll see you guys on the next video, and you know, stick with it.